Y'all, Universal really did it. And I literally just called it. Universal has officially announced Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift for Universal Studios Florida. And honestly, you've got to be pretty confident to greenlight a clone of a ride that hasn't even opened in the other park yet. And go, yeah, this is going to be a hit. Let's just put it to Florida too. That's bold. And I kind of love it, because if anyone could pull that off, it is Universal. Now, Universal definitely has a history of cloning attractions between parks, and honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing, especially when the layout is different. They're not cloning the ride as a whole. They're cloning the story, the theme, the name, which we'll talk about later. But I actually like that Universal is clearly identifying which ride concepts are strong enough to expand to other parks. Early on, there were definitely some questionable choices, but lately, they've been making some smarter calls. I will say though, it's kind of funny that Universal Hollywood keeps getting what feels like the light versions of some of these attractions. Revenge of the Mummy in Florida is absolutely the superior version, and that's not even a debate. Super Nintendo World, yeah, I'm sorry, Orlando's on another level, it's not even comparable. Hollywood Drift in California is going to be a great ride, no doubt about it. It really is what that park needed. But let's be real, the Florida version is probably going to be even better, just with the one element they've shared. Yeah, it's going to be better. But what I really love is the direction Universal is continuing to lean into with thrill rides. And I know that might sound wild, because family attractions are what everyone can enjoy together. Those are the rides that bring in families, that drive vacation decisions, and that sell tickets. Lands like Super Nintendo World and How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk are absolutely essential for that. But thrill rides, those are the attractions people brag about. Those are the rides you market. I mean, look at Isle of Berk. Hiccup's Wing Gliders is incredible, and it's an amazing family coaster, but it's way easier to market something like Jurassic World Velocicoaster. Not because Hiccup's Wing Gliders isn't a great experience, it absolutely is, but because when you can say you have one of the craziest roller coasters in the world versus another family coaster, that's what's going to grab attention. And let's be honest, you're not seeing wing gliders from the freeway. You'll be seeing Velocicoaster from the freeway, and you'll especially be seeing this coaster from the freeway. That visibility matters. That's what gets people asking questions, Googling the park, and then discovering everything else Universal has to offer. And honestly, that's one of the biggest things Universal lost when they took out Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit. Love it or hate it, the coaster was the visual icon of Universal Studios Florida. It was the tallest coaster over in the two parks, and you could see it from everywhere. It was the park skyline. And without it, the park has felt kind of naked. So bringing back a massive skyline dominating coaster, that's huge. And on top of that, the ride experience itself will likely be way better. Now, I loved Rip Ride Rockit, but I won't pretend that it was smooth. It was rough, and that was a very common complaint. This new coaster will likely ride as good as it looks, judging by its manufacturer, Intamin. As we officially know that it is an Intamin coaster, Universal did confirm that it will feature 360-degree spinning drifting style vehicles, meaning it will be the exact same ride model as Hollywood. So that car that was displayed in IAAPA, that will likely be coming to Orlando, Florida. There may be some modifications, there may be a story change, but judging that it's the exact same name, I don't think that's going to play a part in this. Now, they did share that there will be a 170-foot spike. This will make it the tallest coaster at Universal Studios and the tallest coaster that Universal Orlando has, which I think is massive. It's a little taller than what Rip Ride Rockit was, and this is the icon that not only Universal needed, but Universal Studios Florida especially desperately needed. And I already know that this layout is going to be insane whenever they release the full animation. But we need to talk about the name. Fast and Furious, Hollywood Drift. What are we doing, y'all? And no, I'm not mad about Fast and Furious as the IP. That's not the problem. It's the sole word Hollywood. In California, the name makes perfect sense. The park is Universal Studios Hollywood. It's located in the city known as Hollywood. The surrounding area doesn't have a super strict theme, so calling it Hollywood Drift works perfectly. But in Florida, first of all, Hollywood, Florida is like 3 hours south of Orlando. And second of all, and this is the big one, the coaster is being built in the New York section of the park. The New York section! And you're calling it Hollywood Drift? That's across the entire country. The theming just doesn't line up at all. And it's funny how you go from something like Epic Universe, where it's all about these immersive worlds, and now you're throwing a Hollywood-themed attraction in a New York area. Is it really that hard to come up with something like Orlando Drift, or literally any other name? Of course not. They absolutely could have done it. I get trademarks, but thematically, this just makes no sense. It's honestly kind of dumb. Now, I know there's been a ton of speculations about what the coaster could have been themed to. A lot of people were thinking Ghostbusters because of the building facades, and then others were thinking maybe Back to the Future because of the whole 88 miles per hour vibe of the teaser video that was shared. And look, both of these would have been awesome themes, probably more exciting to a lot of fans, but for people that say Fast and Furious isn't popular anymore, or the IP just isn't at that status, or because Supercharged was an absolute failure, y'all, this just is not true. Fast and Furious is one of the most successful film franchises in the world. It has more movies than most major franchises. It sells an insane amount of merch. It has iconic music, iconic quotes. Now, do I personally think Back to the Future would have been an incredible fit? Yes, I do. But here's the thing. I don't think Back to the Future should just be a giant outdoor thrill coaster. That franchise deserves something more intimate, more story-driven, like a dark ride or an indoor coaster, where the theming can really shine. Same thing with Ghostbusters. Those IPs thrive on story, sets, and characters, not just speed and height. When you build massive outdoor coasters like this, you are extremely limited with what you can do with theming. Sure, Hagrid's does it very well, but Hagrid stays low to the ground and is only about 40 feet tall for most of the ride. The Fast and Furious coaster is 170 feet tall, similar to Velocicoaster. And just like Velocicoaster, once you launch out of the tunnel in the paddock, the theming is gone. The first half is great, but you're low to the ground. The second half, when you're going through these massive elements, there's no theming. Stardust Racers is the same way. Once you leave the station, it's pure coaster. There is no theming throughout that layout. So at least with Fast and Furious, this works. Racing, drifting cars, flying through open space, that makes sense for a big outdoor coaster. It's way easier to justify that kind of ride with the IP than with Ghostbusters or Back to the Future, where you'd really want heavy show scenes throughout the experience. You want those iconic landmarks from the movies. And honestly, Fast and Furious, it does deserve a good attraction. The franchise has been done so dirty in these parks. The Tram Tour version was a joke. Supercharged was... yeah, we don't need to talk about that. So I'm actually glad this IP is finally getting a legit high thrill attraction that will actually do it justice. And listen, this is coming from someone who has never actually seen a Fast and Furious movie. I know I really need to. I definitely should. But even I know how massive this franchise is and how much money it makes Universal. And at the end of the day, that's what drives these investments' decisions. Do I still think we're going to get a Back to the Future and Ghostbusters attraction in the future? Absolutely. Especially with new Ghostbusters movie coming out and Universal clearly investing in classic franchises, whether it's with HHN, merchandise in general, the Mega Movie Parade, even Cinesational, and with Universal Great Britain on their horizon, Back to the Future seems like a guarantee there. So it's definitely possible. And speaking of, they also shared that in 2027, we are going to be losing Fast and Furious Supercharged. We did it! Finally! Yes! This will be ending its 9-year run at Universal Studios Florida, and honestly, do you know how badly you have to mess up to build what is widely considered one of the worst dark rides ever, and then less than a decade over, turn around and build a massive thrill coaster with the exact same IP just to make up for it? That is actually hilarious. But jokes aside, I'm genuinely glad Universal is going this route, because this shows something a lot of parks refuse to do. They're willing to admit when something didn't work and actually fix it. Fast and Furious gets a ton of hate, and deservedly so, but let's be real. There are worse dark rides out there that are still operating to this day, so the fact that Supercharged is finally being put out of its misery gives me hope that whatever replaces it will be something really cool. A lot of people don't know this, but if you just look at that building that Fast and Furious Supercharged is in, it is massive. There is actually a ton of potential for this space. They built this building for Supercharged. It is gigantic. So they could do some really cool things. But if I had to guess, I don't think we're going to get an immediate replacement. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the building does sit abandoned for a little bit. Universal will probably keep using the queue and backstage areas for Halloween Horror Nights like they've been doing, and then we'll maybe hear about a replacement, probably in 2028 or 9. I do think this is going to be a very similar treatment to the Lost Continent, how Poseidon's Fury closed back in 2023, and there just has been zero word on it. So I could see them going the same route with this. And it makes sense because Universal does have a ton happening right now. They've got this massive new coaster going into studios. Epic Universe is supposed to get a massive edition very soon from what it sounds like with permits. There's a lot of talk about Lost Continent getting destroyed and that being redeveloped. So I just don't see them rushing to drop another major project into the Supercharged building immediately, especially when they're already fixing the IP with this brand new headline attraction, and Supercharged was widely regarded as one of the worst rides ever made. So yeah, as much as we want a replacement for this, I don't think they're in a hurry, and come on, y'all, they're giving us this massive roller coaster. I think we can give them a little bit of forgiveness for this. But when it does come down to it, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift is going to be an amazing attraction. I do think the theme is the best fit for the job, and I do think that this coaster will truly bring some life back into Universal Studios Florida. Some very, very much needed life back into this park. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Guys, this is a win. We got a brand new coaster, and we're losing the worst dark ride ever. Hallelujah. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe, as that is the best way to support the channel. As always, with Hunter on Theme Park Hunting, and I will see you all again.